Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel, and do we have a massive story for you today? If you're an NFL fan, a Dallas Cowboys supporter, or just someone who loves a good dose of truth-telling, you're going to want to stick around for this one. We're diving headfirst into a moment that's taken the sports world by storm, a moment that's got everyone talking, tweeting, and debating in sports bars across the country. It's a moment that could very well change the way we talk about quarterbacks in the NFL forever. I'm talking about Joy Taylor's absolutely explosive, emotionally charged, and undeniably viral defense of none other than Dak Prescott, the quarterback of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. This wasn't just a hot take, it was a full-on reckoning, a mic-drop moment that's lit up social media and sparked a conversation that's long overdue. So grab a seat, hit that subscribe button, and let's break down this seismic event in the world of football. Picture this. It's another day on FS1 Speak, where analysts are breaking down the latest NFL storylines, and the conversation inevitably turns to the Dallas Cowboys. It's the same old song and dance we've heard for years. Expectations are sky high, the pressure is on, and, as always, Dak Prescott's name comes up with a side of skepticism. You know the drill. Every offseason, every loss, every time the Cowboys fall short of a Super Bowl, the spotlight lands squarely on Dak. Critics question his ability to lead, analysts nitpick his stats, and even some Cowboys fans join the chorus of doubt. It's become a ritual, almost a tradition, to pile on the quarterback who's been the heart and soul of this team since 2016. But this time, something different happened. This time, Joy Taylor, one of the most respected voices in sports media, decided she'd had enough. She wasn't just going to sit there and let the narrative roll on unchecked. No, she took the stage, raised her voice, and delivered a defense of Dak Prescott that's being called one of the most passionate moments in recent sports television history. "I'm sick of it," Taylor began, her voice cutting through the usual sports talk chatter like a lightning bolt. "I'm sick of the disrespect. You all act like Dak Prescott hasn't done a damn thing in this league, like he hasn't carried the Dallas Cowboys through chaos, injuries, coaching changes, and media firestorms year after year." Those words weren't just a defense, they were a battle cry. You could feel the intensity, the frustration, the raw emotion pouring out of her. This wasn't about hot takes or clickbait headlines. This was about setting the record straight, about calling out what Taylor described as the disgraceful treatment of one of the NFL's most unfairly criticized players. Her tone was unwavering, her delivery was razor-sharp, and her message was crystal clear. Dak Prescott deserves respect, and the way he's been treated by the media, analysts, and even some fans is nothing short of an embarrassment. Now, let's pause for a second and talk about why this moment hit so hard. Dak Prescott isn't just any quarterback. Since he burst onto the scene as a fourth-round draft pick in 2016, he's been defying expectations. Let's run through the numbers, because Joy Taylor didn't just lean on emotion, she backed her argument with cold, hard facts. Since entering the NFL, Dak ranks among the league's elite quarterbacks in several key categories. We're talking wins, touchdown passes, completion percentage, and passer rating. This guy has led the Cowboys to multiple playoff appearances, weathered a devastating ankle injury in 2020 that could have ended his career, and come back stronger than ever. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards in multiple seasons, posted gaudy touchdown numbers, and maintained a level of consistency that most teams would kill for. Yet, somehow, the narrative around Dak never seems to evolve. It's always the same tired talking points. He hasn't won a Super Bowl, his playoff performances aren't good enough, he's not elite. Joy Taylor called it what it is, a double standard. "We've got quarterbacks in this league who've accomplished far less and get twice the praise," Taylor said, her words dripping with conviction. "But because he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, the microscope is bigger, the criticism is louder, and the forgiveness is non-existent." She's not wrong, folks. The Dallas Cowboys are America's team, and with that comes an unparalleled level of scrutiny. Every move, every play, Every decision is dissected under a magnifying glass. And Dak, as the face of the franchise, bears the brunt of it. Other quarterbacks can have off games, lose in the playoffs, or fail to deliver a championship, and they're given a pass. They're called promising or unlucky. But Dak? He's held to a standard that seems impossible to meet. Win a division? Not enough. Win a playoff game? Still not enough. Throw for 4,500 yards? Do it without a single interception. As Taylor put it, we keep moving the goalposts for Dak. And she's absolutely right. And let's not gloss over the context here, because context matters. Dak Prescott has been the constant anchor for a Cowboys team that's gone through more than its fair share of turmoil. Since he took over as the starting quarterback, he's played under 3 different head coaches, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, and everything in between. He's seen his offensive line, once the best in the league, decimated by injuries and retirements. He's lost key receivers like Amari Cooper and running backs like Ezekiel Elliott, forcing him to adapt to new faces year after year. And let's not forget that horrific ankle injury in 2020, a moment that could have broken a lesser player. Most guys don't come back from something like that, at least not at the same level. But Dak? He rehabbed, he returned, and he's been putting up Pro Bowl caliber numbers ever since. Yet somehow, the conversation always shifts back to what he hasn't done, not what he has. Joy Taylor called it out for what it is, a disgrace. One of the most powerful moments in Taylor's monologue came when she turned her attention to the Cowboys organization and their fan base. Yes, you heard that right. She didn't just take on the media, she called out the fans too. You want someone who shows up every day, who fights for this team, who carries the weight of this franchise? That's Dak, she said. And yet, you're out here booing him, questioning him, acting like he's the problem. It's a tough pill to swallow, but she's not wrong. Cowboys fans are passionate, and that passion can cut both ways. They love their team fiercely, but they're also quick to turn on their own when things don't go perfectly. Dak has been on the receiving end of that frustration more than most, and it's not just unfair, it's short-sighted. This is a guy who's never ducked responsibility, never thrown a teammate under the bus, and never let the noise get in the way of his preparation. If that's not the kind of leader you want, then what is? Taylor's words didn't just resonate with Cowboys fans, they struck a chord across the NFL. Social media exploded in the aftermath of her segment. NFL Twitter was ablaze with reactions, from fans applauding her courage to analysts weighing in with their own takes. Former Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant, a legend in his own right, took to X and tweeted, "Joy Taylor said what we've all been thinking for years. Dak's been the truth." Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe reposted the clip and added, "Finally, someone said it." Even players from other teams started chiming in, with some sharing their own stories of unfair criticism or praising Dak's professionalism. It was a moment that transcended the Cowboys and tapped into a broader conversation about how we evaluate players in this league. But, of course, not everyone was on board. The critics, and you knew they were coming, pushed back hard. They argued that the scrutiny on Dak is justified. After all, the Cowboys haven't made it past the divisional round of the playoffs during his tenure. They point to his playoff performances, which, yes, haven't always been stellar. They say his stats are inflated by a pass-heavy offense, or that he's had the benefit of playing with talented rosters. And of course, they bring up the big one, until he hoists a Lombardi trophy, he'll never be considered truly elite. It's the same argument we've heard for years, and it's not entirely without merit. The NFL is a results-driven business, and championships are the ultimate measuring stick. But Joy Taylor had an answer for that too, and it's one that cuts right to the core of this debate. Winning a Super Bowl is not the only metric of greatness, she fired back. Dan Marino never won one. Neither did Jim Kelly. Are they suddenly not legends? Boom. That's the kind of perspective we don't hear enough in sports media. Football is the ultimate team sport, and pinning an entire franchise's success, or lack thereof, on one player is lazy analysis. The Cowboys' playoff shortcomings aren't just about Dak. They're about defensive breakdowns, coaching decisions, and sometimes just plain bad luck. Dak has delivered in big moments. Think about his clutch performances against teams like the Seahawks or the Eagles, but he's also been let down by dropped passes, missed kicks, or questionable play calling. Yet, somehow, the blame always seems to land at his feet. Taylor's point was simple: context matters, circumstances matter, and pretending otherwise is dishonest. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott himself has stayed quiet, because that's who he is. He doesn't engage in the back and forth. He doesn't fire off tweets or clap back at critics. He just goes to work. Right now, he's preparing for the 2025 season, a year that could define his legacy. The Cowboys have retooled their roster, making smart moves in the draft and adding reinforcements on defense. They're healthy, they're motivated, and the expectations in Dallas are, as always, through the roof. Dak knows what's at stake. Another playoff exit will bring another wave of criticism, another round of questions about his contract, his future, his place in Cowboys history. But if there's one thing he's proven time and time again, it's that he's built for this. You can question his stats, you can nitpick his throws, but you cannot question his heart. As we head into the 2025 season, one thing is certain: the spotlight on Dak Prescott has never been brighter. But thanks to Joy Taylor, that spotlight might finally come with the respect he's earned. Her words weren't just a defense of one player, they were a challenge to all of us. To the media, to stop chasing narratives and start chasing truth. To the fans, to appreciate what they have in a quarterback who's given everything to this franchise. And to the NFL as a whole, to rethink how we measure greatness. This season in Dallas is shaping up to be one for the history books, and Dak Prescott is ready to write the next chapter. So buckle up, football fans, because this story is far from over. Joy Taylor may have started the conversation, but it's up to Dak and all of us to decide how it ends. If you're as fired up about this as I am, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update. We're going to be covering every twist and turn of this Cowboys season, from the highs to the lows and everything in between. Let's keep this conversation going. In the comments, what do you think about Joy Taylor's defense of Dak? Is he disrespected, or is the criticism fair? Drop your thoughts below, and let's get this debate rolling. Until next time, stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's talk football.